Young Kings, I need you to stop scrolling for a second because I'm about to flip everything you've been taught completely upside down. You know that feeling of not fitting in? That anxiety that keeps you up at night? That fear that you're too weird, too different, too not like everyone else? That's not your weakness. That's literally your superpower. I know that sounds crazy. Your whole life you've been told that fitting in is everything. Be normal. Don't stand out too much. Follow the crowd. And when you couldn't do that, when you felt like the odd one out, you thought something was wrong with you. But here's the truth. Every single person who's ever done anything extraordinary started as the person who didn't fit in. Steve Jobs didn't fit in. Elon Musk definitely didn't fit in. Kendrick Lamar didn't fit in. Einstein was literally called stupid in school. And you, sitting there right now feeling like you're on the outside looking in, you're not broken. You're just seeing the world differently than everyone else. And that is the most valuable thing you could possibly have. Hit that subscribe button right now if you're ready to understand why being different is actually your greatest advantage. Drop a comment, I don't fit in and I'm owning it. Smash that like button if you've ever felt like the odd one out. Now, let me tell you a story that's going to hit different. My dad told me a story when I was a kid about someone he knew when he was much younger. Let's call him Ryan Bossman from Austin, Texas. Ryan grew up in a house where emotions were never discussed. His dad, silent type, worked construction, barely said 10 words. His mom was overwhelmed, working 2 jobs. Neither had the time to really see Ryan. And Ryan was different from the jump. While other kids obsessed over sports and Xbox, Ryan read philosophy books and watched space documentaries. He'd ask questions that made teachers uncomfortable, get excited about ideas that made other kids look at him weird. By middle school, Ryan was acutely aware he didn't fit in, and it terrified him. When you grow up feeling invisible at home, the last thing you want is to be invisible at school. So Ryan made a decision millions of young men make. He decided to become someone he wasn't just to fit in. Here's what Ryan did wrong. He dumbed himself down, stopped raising his hand in class, started getting C's when he was capable of A's because he didn't want to be called a nerd. He changed his interests, stopped reading the books he loved, pretended to care about things he didn't, just so he'd have something to talk about with the cool kids. He abandoned his authentic self, started hanging with a crew he didn't even like, just because they tolerated him. They weren't his people. They didn't share his dreams, his values. But Ryan was so desperate not to be alone that he convinced himself this was enough. He let fear kill his curiosity. The very thing that made Ryan special, his questioning mind, he buried it deep down. By high school, Ryan had successfully made himself average. He'd fit in with a group of dudes who had no ambition, no goals beyond what party was happening this weekend. He traded his potential for acceptance. Fast forward to 25-year-old Ryan. Dead-end retail job, living with roommates he can't stand, no direction, no purpose, no passion. And those friends he sacrificed everything to fit in with, half aren't even in his life anymore. Ryan looks in the mirror and barely recognizes himself. He thinks about that kid who used to dream big, and he wonders, where did I go? That's what happens when you trade authenticity for acceptance, young kings. You lose yourself, and the acceptance you get isn't even real. The tragedy isn't that Ryan didn't fit in. The tragedy is that he tried to force himself to fit in instead of recognizing that not fitting in was his advantage all along. What it means to not fit in. Let's break down what not fitting in actually means. Not fitting in simply means your frequency is different from the crowd around you. Your interests, values, curiosity, ambitions, they're calibrated differently. Here's how you know. Conversations feel surface level when you're craving something deeper. Your goals seem too much to people around you. You get excited about things that make others' eyes glaze over. You feel exhausted pretending to care about what everyone else cares about. You'd rather spend Friday night reading or creating than doing what everyone else is doing. You feel like you're wearing a mask just to be accepted. If these resonate, congratulations, you're officially different. And here's what society won't tell you. That difference is pure gold. Society pushes the idea that fitting in equals success, that conformity equals safety. But here's what's changed. We live in a world where being different isn't a liability. It's literally the only way to stand out.
The economy doesn't reward people who do what everyone else does. It rewards innovators, creators, people who think differently. The people who fit in perfectly, they're replaceable. The people who don't fit in, they're irreplaceable. The importance of this knowledge. Understanding that not fitting in is an advantage is crucial when you're young. Here's why. 1, it saves you years of wasted time. If Ryan had understood this at 15, he wouldn't have wasted a decade trying to be someone else. 2, it helps you find your people faster. When you stop trying to fit in with everyone, you attract people who vibe with the real you. 3, it gives you permission to be excellent. So many young men dull their shine because they're afraid of outshining their friends. 4, it helps you discover your true abilities. You can't know what you're capable of if you're constantly limiting yourself. Dr. Seuss said, "Why fit in when you were born to stand out?" Simple words, but they cut deep. In Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, he shows how the most successful people often didn't fit the traditional mold. They saw things differently, questioned the status quo. When you embrace not fitting in, you develop independent thinking, the foundation of leadership, authentic confidence, not from people liking you, but from knowing yourself, unique perspectives, your competitive advantage in life, and resilience. When you stop needing everyone's approval, you become unstoppable. Pause right now. Think, am I around people who celebrate my differences or people who make me feel like I need to shrink? Comment below, "I'm finding my tribe," if you're ready to stop forcing connections. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that being different is their superpower.
How society creates the pressure. If you don't understand that not fitting in is an advantage, it will mess you up in ways you can't see coming. Seth Godin wrote, "We are all weird," arguing that trying to be normal is actually the weirdest thing you can do. He says, normal is fading away. Being remarkable is the only way to thrive. What creates the pressure to fit in? 1, social media. Everyone's curating perfect lives. You think something's wrong if yours doesn't look like that. 2, school systems, designed to create conformity. Sit in rows. Don't question too much. The system rewards fitting in. 3, peer pressure. Your teenage brain is wired to care about acceptance, but just because it's natural doesn't mean you let it control you. 4, fear of loneliness. People would rather be with the wrong crowd than be alone. But here's the truth. Being alone is better than being surrounded by people who make you feel alone. Depression, anxiety, feeling lost, so much comes from the conflict between who you really are and who you think you're supposed to be. How to use not fitting in as your advantage. So how do you actually leverage this? 1, accept it fully. Stop fighting your nature. Say it out loud. I don't fit in with everyone, and that's perfectly okay. 2, study yourself. What makes you different? Those differences are clues to your purpose. 3, seek out your people. They exist. Join clubs, online communities, anywhere people who share your interests gather. 4, use your difference as a filter. When you're authentically yourself, you repel people who aren't meant for you and attract people who are. 5, develop your unique strengths. Whatever makes you different probably points to your natural talents. Lean into those. 6, build mental toughness. Not everyone will understand you. That's okay. Read Daring Greatly by Brené Brown about how authenticity is courageous. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "To be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." How to turn difference into strength. Every way you don't fit in can become a strategic advantage. Quieter than everyone? You observe more, think deeper, and when you speak, people listen. Into nerdy stuff? You're developing expertise in fields that will matter while everyone else wastes time on trends. Ask too many questions? You're developing critical thinking most people never develop. Too sensitive? You're emotionally intelligent, one of the most valuable traits for leadership. What society calls your weakness is actually your strength, you just need to see it correctly. Think about that person in your family or neighborhood, the one who was smart, talented, different in a good way, but spent so much energy trying to fit in with the wrong crowd that they never developed their potential.
I knew a guy, Marcus. He was into art, could draw like crazy, but Marcus's neighborhood wasn't about that. Marcus, desperate to fit in, put the pencils down and picked up habits that led nowhere. Now Marcus is 35, works a job he hates, and his art supplies collect dust. He talks about what he could have been. Don't be Marcus, young kings. The world has enough copies. It needs the original you. Listen, young kings, we're at the end, and I need you to absorb this. Not fitting in isn't your problem. Trying to fit in when you weren't designed to is your problem. You were built different for a reason. Your unique perspective isn't baggage. That's your toolkit for building something extraordinary. The people who fit in perfectly right now, in 10 years, they'll blend into the background. But you're gonna stand out. You're going to be remembered. But only if you stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. There's only one you, ever. Don't waste that uniqueness trying to be a mediocre version of someone else." Here's your action plan. Today, identify one thing you've been hiding because you're afraid people won't accept it. Then take one small step toward expressing it authentically. Share it with one person. Join one community about it. Spend 30 minutes pursuing it without apology. Before we close, 1. Subscribe to this channel right now. We're building a community of young kings who understand that being different is being powerful. 2. Comment, "I am my own tribe," to claim your individuality. 3. Share this video with someone struggling to fit in. They need to hear this. The path of trying to fit in leads to quiet desperation. The path of embracing your difference leads to purpose, impact, and fulfillment. Stop trying to fit in. Start standing out. The world is waiting for the real you. I believe in you, young kings. Now go show the world why being different is the most powerful thing you could possibly be. Much love. Stay authentic. Stay focused. Stay different. If this spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe. We're building something real here, a space to keep your mind sharp and your soul grounded. Don't forget, your future self is watching. Make him proud. Let's keep having these conversations, and let's keep talking about us too.